It all began in that quiet, chilling moment. The kind of moment families remember forever, when Prince William finally sat his younger brother down and said the one thing he had been holding back for months. He wasn't dramatic. He didn't yell. He didn't accuse. He just looked at Harry the way an older brother looks when he knows a storm is coming and whispered a single warning that could have changed everything if only Harry had listened. But instead of hearing love, Harry heard judgment. And in that single misunderstanding, their entire bond began to fracture. People close to the situation always say the same thing. William had lived through the monarchy long enough to know its teeth. He knew how the palace machine could look soft from the outside, grand halls, gold frames, glittering crowns, but inside, it could crush someone emotionally before they even had a chance to catch their breath. When he watched Harry rush forward, practically sprinting toward a life-changing commitment, William felt fear, not jealousy. He had seen how long it took Kate to survive the transition. 10 years of quiet training, adjusting, preparing, learning the rhythms of royal duty like someone studying a foreign language. And that's why William spoke up. He didn't want Harry walking into the fire unprepared. He saw warning signs everywhere, signs Harry simply refused to see. Harry was racing toward the future like he was afraid time was running out. He wanted the fairy tale. He wanted the family he lost. He wanted stability so badly that he couldn't recognize when he was gripping something too tightly. But then the whispers began. The kind of whispers that don't come from tabloids, but from behind palace walls. From staffers who speak in lowered voices. From sources who say, "You didn't hear this from me." That's when things shifted from concern to chaos. Some insiders claim the earliest sparks didn't even revolve around Harry, but around William. Nobody wants to say it loudly, but the rumor that Meghan may have been more fascinated with William than Harry lingered like perfume in a tight hallway. And speaking of perfume, that's where the gossip gets absolutely wild. There's this theory, one that royal watchers swear is too strange to be a coincidence, that Meghan's signature perfume carried the same scent notes Princess Diana wore her entire life. Bluebell, Diana's favorite, the very fragrance that could transport William instantly back to childhood memories of his mother. People speculate, that Meghan chose it intentionally, knowing the emotional reaction it might trigger. Was it admiration? Was it symbolism? Or was it an attempt to imitate the late princess in a way that would catch William's attention more deeply than anyone realized? The rumor mill exploded with theories, each more dramatic than the last. Some said Meghan wanted to mirror Diana's legacy. Others said she wanted to position herself as the modern, reinvented version. And then there were those darker whispers that she may have wanted to evoke a sense of nostalgia in William, pulling him emotionally closer without him even noticing. Nobody knows the truth, but the scent, the memories, the tension, it all created the perfect breeding ground for speculation. And this is where the palace began tightening the ropes. Those inside the household claim William quietly introduced a rule, one that seemed simple but carried heavy meaning. He would never be alone with Meghan. Not at receptions, not at palace dinners, not even at family gatherings. Not because he distrusted himself, but because he distrusted what the world could turn a single moment into. Every gesture in that family becomes a headline. Every glance becomes a theory. William wasn't protecting himself from Meghan. He was protecting his marriage, his reputation, and Kate's dignity. Because if Meghan's perfume stirred memories of Diana, Meghan's presence stirred something else entirely: controversy. She was expressive, vibrant, energetic, everything Hollywood trained her to be. She leaned in when she spoke. She touched people's arms naturally. She laughed loudly. She filled up a room. For royal insiders accustomed to restraint, it felt like too much, too bright, too emotional, and to critics, too intentional. They say the palace staff noticed immediately how differently Meghan interacted with William compared to Kate. Kate is the embodiment of royal composure. Hands clasped, quiet smiles, elegant posture, every movement calculated in the most subtle way. But Meghan, she was fire to Kate's porcelain. She broke the mold, and with every boundary she pushed, comparisons between the two women intensified. People watched the way she leaned in when speaking to William, the way she touched his arm in conversation, the way her laughter seemed louder when he was near. Whether it was true or not didn't matter. What mattered was the interpretation, the sensation, the narrative the palace feared would spread like wildfire. And that's exactly what happened. Some staffers allegedly used the word predatory, not in any literal, harmful sense, but as a dramatic way to describe behavior they thought felt too bold, too Hollywood, too boundary-free for a royal household. Critics said Meghan carried the same confidence she had in Hollywood, a confidence that worked on directors, producers, influential men, and brought it straight into the monarchy, a place where such behavior is scrutinized scrutinized mercilessly. Then came the yacht rumors, those harsh, recycled accusations that Meghan's critics love to wield. The phrase, "once a yacht girl, always a yacht girl," became a cruel refrain whispered behind her back. It was gossip at its most brutal, fueled by jealousy, misunderstanding, and resentment. Some staff members believed Meghan used charm like a tool, strategic, deliberate, purposeful. Whether that was true or not didn't matter, because once a rumor like that settles into palace walls, it never truly leaves. But even more haunting than the flirtation rumors was the ghost lingering behind them, Diana. Diana has always been the unspoken third presence in every major royal conflict. Her image, her legacy, her pain, they hover over William like a shadow he cannot escape. So when people began noticing similarities between Meghan and Diana, the fashion, the poses, the soft tilts of the head, the emotional expressions, it stirred something visceral in William, something protective, something fearful. One insider even claimed that William felt uncomfortable with how often Meghan seemed to echo Diana's style choices. Some thought it was Meghan paying tribute, others thought it was strategic, and still others believed it was an attempt to occupy the emotional space Diana once held in the public's heart. Combine that with the Bluebell perfume, Diana's signature scent, and you get a storm the palace absolutely could not control. And while all of this brewed in the background, Harry remained blissfully unaware. Or maybe he was aware but refused to see it. He defended Meghan fiercely, pushing back against every concern William tried to raise. To Harry, Meghan represented love, escape, freedom, something new and vibrant after years of emptiness. He didn't want to slow down. He didn't want warnings. He didn't want lectures. He wanted to run toward the life he thought he lost the moment Diana died. But William saw something else. Danger. Not because of Meghan herself, but because of the collision between Hollywood energy and royal fragility, a collision that had destroyed many before. Insiders claim that at the height of the tension, the palace practically installed a buffer system around William whenever Meghan was present. A private secretary here, a bodyguard there, a nanny lingering nearby, always someone, always eyes watching, always witnesses ensuring no moment could be twisted into something scandalous. The palace wasn't trying to shame Meghan. They were trying to protect the monarchy and protect Kate, the next queen who had already endured years of scrutiny with quiet strength. They didn't want her humiliated the way Diana had been. They didn't want another war between future and present queens. But jealousy, power, and insecurity are the gasoline of royal gossip. And when Meghan entered the picture, all three exploded at once. Some say she envied Kate's future crown. Others say she wanted influence equal to William's. Still others believe she wanted to break the old royal rules and rebuild the hierarchy in her own image. Nobody knew the truth, maybe not even Meghan. But the world didn't care about truth. The world cared about the story of a Hollywood actress, a future king, a jealous sister-in-law, a ghostly perfume, and a broken bond between two brothers who once promised they'd never let anything come between them. The whispers grew, the rumors hardened, and eventually the royal family, William, Kate, Meghan, Harry, were swallowed by a narrative too big to control. Because once a story mixes ghosts, perfume, jealousy, temptation, and royalty, it stops being gossip. It becomes legend. And the saddest part? Everyone says this whole mess could have been avoided if Harry had just paused, just for 1 second, and listened to the brother who had protected him since childhood. But Harry wasn't in a place to hear anything except what he wanted to hear. Every warning felt like an attack. Every hesitation felt like someone trying to steal his happiness. He didn't understand that William wasn't trying to stop him from loving Meghan. He was trying to stop him from falling into a world he wasn't prepared for. A world Meghan stepped into like she'd been preparing for it her entire life, while Harry walked in blindfolded. Meanwhile, the palace corridors buzzed with whispers. Staffers exchanged glances when Meghan passed. Some were fascinated, others intimidated, many confused, because Meghan walked with a confidence none of them had seen before, like she wasn't entering royalty, like royalty was entering her world. And William, who had spent years building stability with Kate, couldn't let one unpredictable spark burn down everything they had carefully built. But by then, the distance between the two brothers had become a canyon, one choosing caution, the other choosing passion, and Meghan, knowingly or unknowingly, standing right in the center of the storm that changed the royal family forever.